Welcome. Today's project's all about trauma and how we store trauma and the link between trauma and anxiety. Now, there's various degrees of trauma, and trauma is a negative, highly emotional event from your past that triggered the stress response, that triggered your anxiety. Now, when you go through that traumatic moment, it's the unknown emerging. It's unfamiliar territory. It's something novelty. You don't know what to make of it. You've been in this comfort zone, right? Your whole life, and when you go into unexplored territory, or when it pops up unexpectedly, you don't know what to make of it, right? It's so unexplored, it's so unexpected, and it could be the illness or death of someone close to you. It could be a breakup. It could be betrayal. It could be a fight, maybe between your parents when you were 10 years old, that was highly emotional to you. You don't know what to make of it at that moment in your life. It's so unexpected. It's so novelty that, we end up repressing all of these traumas within our unconscious mind. And it could be an embarrassing moment from high school. Whatever is negative but highly emotional to you is trauma. That's really important to understand. Now, when I was 10 years old, I had a traumatic moment. I had a panic attack, my first panic attack that led to consecutive panic attacks when I was in my 20s. Now, this highly emotional event was novelty. I didn't know what it was. I was watching a movie, an exciting movie with my parents, and then I started to focus in on my breathing. I didn't know why I was having trouble breathing, and I was paying attention to it. And then I ran out of the basement, and I was sitting on the steps upstairs trying to catch my breath, and my parents came, and they didn't know what it was either, so it was novelty to them. And I calmed down. I got myself together with their help, and we went and watched the movie. But I didn't know what it was. I stored that information within my unconscious mind as something undeciphered, right? Unpacked, right? Or packed, right? I didn't know how to unpack it. And so I kept that within my unconscious mind until in my mid-20s, when it reemerged, it triggered that past anxiety when I first had that trauma. So when the same sensations came about when I started focusing on my breathing in my 20s, it triggered the past memory when I was 10. That novelty reemerged, and I didn't know what to make of it in my 20s either. So it led to consecutive panic attacks down the road. Now, so what happened when I was 10 years old was my unconscious, the 90 to 95% of who I am, it stored that moment within the unconscious, right? It stored it, it repressed it, because what happened? Well, it was a potential threat to my life, so my unconscious wanted to hold on to it so that it won't happen again in the future. It's something important, right? It's a threat to my life. If you encountered that saber-toothed tiger that one time, you won't forget it, right? You won't forget it because that was a threat to your life. Maybe you almost died. So you're going to hold on to that with strongly for, well, what if I encounter that saber-toothed tiger again in the future, right? You want to hold on to that, and you want to keep it at the forefront of your mind so that it can protect you when that threat maybe reemerges again in the future. So, how do you know it's trauma? Well, you know it's trauma when you think of a moment from your past and it gives you a strong negative emotion when you think about it. Now, you may experience it daily when you're on the bus. Maybe you're on the bus and you get caught in a trance, maybe when you're 14 years old, when you're in school and an embarrassing moment happened, and you get caught thinking about it, and then all of a sudden the bell rings, it's your stop, and then you got to get off the bus. And you get caught in that trance for maybe 30 seconds, a couple minutes. That's your unconscious mind saying, hey, there's this moment from your past that you haven't unpacked it yet. You haven't understood the lessons yet. You haven't learned the lessons. I'm going to bring it about so that you can deal with it. But like most people nowadays, we repress it. And when that negative past highly emotional event comes about, what is it? Is it an image that comes into your mind of the event? Or is it a GIF? You know those GIFs on social media that are like 2 to 3 seconds in length? That it's just like a small video clip that's like 3 seconds that loops. And that's also the traumatic event. That's what happens when we experience this traumatic event, and our unconscious takes a photo of the height of the trauma. So when I was 10 years old and I had that panic attack, I was sitting on the steps, and the height of the trauma, my unconscious took a photo or a GIF, like a small 3-second video of the height of that trauma, and then it stored it within my unconscious mind, and then later in life, it just pops back up as a GIF, and I start to be caught in its trance. Or when I started to feel the hyperventilation in my 20s, it triggered the GIF, right? And it triggered that moment from my past. So I started to relive it. And so a part of you is stuck in the past, or maybe lots of parts of you. Many parts are stuck in the past. And so they reemerge over time. And we get stuck in those trances so often, and I had a lot of embarrassing moments in my life. There were so many embarrassing moments that I would get caught in these trances every day. I'd be on the subway, or I would be at work, and I would start to think of this moment from my past, and I would get caught in it, and then I would relive that emotion when I was caught in that trance, the same emotion I felt when that event originally took place. So when you repress that GIF, or when you repress that image from the height of that trauma, the body is still working unconsciously to figure out what really happened. It's trying to figure it out. It's trying to understand the novelty, the unexplored territory that you experienced. But like most people, we repress it. But there is a way you can release that baggage from the body. There is a way. And that's through reframing exercises, NLP. This is what I do with my clients. I get them in a meditative state, and I take them back to the original event, the Dragon of Chaos, the unexplored territory, right? I take them back to the original event, and then we go through it. We pick it apart in detail, and then I ask them to go through the event the way they want the event to go instead, so that they attach safety to the event, and thus releasing the hold, the grip the unconscious has over that original event. So we must attach safety to that past highly traumatic event, rather than that stress and anxiety and fear and threat that we're still holding on to in regards to that event, right? So reframing NLP work is so important. And I also provide a audio in my recovery program on my website. And when you download the program, there's an audio of releasing trauma. It's an exercise that you can do any time of day. If you want to release 20, 30, how many traumas that are stored within your unconscious mind, just keep going, just go through the exercise, the audio that guides you through the releasing trauma exercise. And so to get rid of all that baggage, you feel lighter, and you learn the lessons, and you don't have to hold on to all that weight that's been weighing down on you for all of these years. It's so important that we get in touch with our unconscious minds, right? The parts of us that we just avoid, the parts that hold our deepest fears and traumas, right? So it's like an onion. When I was going through my recovery, I had a lot of traumas. I had a lot of things I needed to work out. So I had to keep peeling off the layers of the onion so that I, so that I can feel lighter and get more in tune with who I am as a person. So at age 10, I went through this highly traumatic moment. And then when I went through that moment, I misinterpreted the excitement of the movie as being life-threatening. Like I was hyperventilating because the movie was exciting. It was an action movie. I got so excited, I misinterpreted my sensations as being life-threatening. Oh, maybe I'm gonna die because I can't breathe properly. I run out of there, and then I can't make anything of that event. I don't know what to make of it, and so I repress it, continue on living my life, but then panic pops up. The dragon of chaos, the unknown territory, the unexplored territory, it pops up again and again and again, and then it's novelty in my 20s. I don't know what to make of it until I learn what anxiety really is, until I learn how I can release this repressed trauma that's making me relive this old trauma, right? It's this old trauma is being relived over and over and over again every day through panic, through all of these different highly emotional, negative, highly emotional experiences, like at the art gallery where I had a severe panic attack. You know, all of these places that I would have panic, maybe at the workshop, at school where I would have panic attacks, they would come about because I didn't know what to make of them. I didn't understand them. I didn't unpack them yet. So I hope this video helps understand what's really going on in the unconscious mind, in the 95% of who you are. And I hope that you start unraveling those traumas, those issues that keep you stuck in the past. There must be so many parts of you stuck in the past that makes you relive them over and over and over again. And so let's get back into the present moment. Let's unpack those traumas, and it's time to get back into the present moment, right? Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Do not let anxiety define who you are. I will see you on the next video. Bye for now. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell so that whenever a new video of mine appears, you will be the first to know. Namaste.